I see it says report, yeah.
Okay, so here we are, and welcome everyone to V's Place, the caregiver's place where people come to get all kinds of great information. So whether you're a caregiver or someone who is thinking about going into the professional world of caregiver, you are in the right place today, because today I am so happy to have a special guest on with us who has been there. She has worked in that field. So you talk about the tips, the information that you need if you're planning on becoming a professional caregiver. I want to welcome Leah. Hi, Leah. How are you doing
Hello.
today?
Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm great.
Great, great. So glad to have you with us today, Leah. So,
Thank
Leah, please tell me about you. And when I say you, I know you actually have worked in that field. So if you can just tell me a little bit about the work that you did, the position, and just all those type of things.
you. Okay. Well, I've been in healthcare for a little over like 10 years on and off. And I worked in private homes. I worked in facilities. I worked in nursing homes, assisted living. And I kind of was in pretty much every position you can think of when it comes to caring for the seniors, when it comes to training the caregivers. It was a pretty much, I had my hands in a little bit of everything.
Wow. Well, you know, when you say you had your hands in pretty much everything, how did you get started? What was, I guess, maybe one of your first jobs or?
Well, I can say I got started, well, when I was a child, my aunt had Alzheimer's. And at that time, I did not know, obviously, what that was. I was unfamiliar. But as I got a little older and kind of, went back, I realized that, that was something that I kind of wanted to get into, because she was an older lady that, we loved dearly, and our family took great care of her. And I thought, like, if I can do that with my aunts, why not get into that business, professionally, later on. And that's what made me want to do healthcare.
So it sounds like you were actually a caregiver at a very early age.
Yes.
And it sounds like your love for that just kind of took you in different positions. So now, when you talk about titles, what was your title when you were working in, you said like a facility?
Yes. Well, I started off as a home health aide, like the very beginning stages of caregiving. I started off as a home health aide, which I provided care for seniors. I gave them baths. I reminded them to take medication, prepared food. And then once, I had that position for a little while, I was promoted to lead caregiver, which pretty much means I am over all the caregivers that we were under our roof, under our facility. I did caregiving training. I met with families, and then from there I got promoted again, and just a little more work, like scheduling, more meeting with families, signing contract with me. I signed a lot of families onto our services. So it was just a whirlwind of things that I did in a short amount of time.
Well, it sounds like you must have obviously known what you're doing because of those different promotions.
Yes.
That you got. So obviously you were doing, something right. So now when you talk about the facility, you actually worked with the nursing home area as well as assisted living.
Yes.
Type of, setting. So again, when you talk about those different areas, what would you say as, well, I know you said that you started off as a healthcare worker. So that's like sort of like the entry position.
The entry, exactly. Yes,
okay.
ma'am. Yep.
Right. So if you, as a healthcare person coming in, what type of training or background does a person have to have?
Well, coming in at the entry level, as you said, it's pretty much like what I said, like when you're taking care of a loved one, or even if you have children, you're a caretaker for your children. So when you're in the beginning stages, like a home health aide, you necessarily don't need certifications because you're not doing a lot of hands-on. Once you start with the CNA and getting certified, that's when they require, certifications, and you're getting licensed and things of that nature. So coming in, you pretty much have experience from like taking care of family, taking care of your children. That's caretaking. Anything involved with caring for anyone is caretaking. So
Okay.
that's,
Yeah, I think that's good to know for people who are interested in that type of a position. So as far as like having a resume, if you have already had the experience of taking care of a loved one, and if it's
yes,
in-home care, that can actually be a good way to be able to move into working in a more professional. And when I say professional, I'm talking about like some of those special programs, assisted
right.
living, and that. Okay, so let me ask you this. What would you say were some of the biggest uh, rewards? I want to talk about the rewards of being a professional caregiver.
I would say pretty much having the families trust our services and trust us to know that their families were okay. Because a lot of the children of the seniors worked, they had their own lives. They lived kind of far out of town, out of the country. A lot of them lived out of the country. So it was a cool experience and satisfying to know that they trusted us to care for their loved ones.
Yeah. You know, I think what you said is really important, the trust, because again, when you start talking about the qualifications, what would you
Yeah.
say besides, well, I don't want to say besides, but what would you say are some of the real important qualifications of being successful in this field?
Important qualifications. You have to be a people's person.
Okay.
You have to have a heart, honestly. This, if you don't have a heart, you don't have patience, this is not the career for you. Yeah, this is not the career for you. You have to really be patient. All the seniors have different personalities. They all have different illnesses. And, you know, coming across in training, you know, when I was training, I did see a lot of the caregivers didn't have the patience to do that. And I used to tell them, like, sometimes, you know, it's nothing personal, but maybe this is not the work for you.
You know, I can understand now more why you became a supervisor and a manager, you know,
Mhm.
in that, because it has to be someone who can recognize, you know, what are the important things, because everything may not show up, you know, on a resume, like having a heart,
Right,
you know, for the work, or, you know,
right,
just caring, you know, so that's something that you may not necessarily, you know, see on paper, but that's something you actually get a chance to see in action.
right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so I really like that. So, so are you still there, or so what are you doing now?
Well, no, I my last position I had, I was there for 6 years. I assisted in running a facility, assisted a living facility for 6 years. And I was there 6 years, and now I kind of reverse roles. And now I got into the business of selling uniform scrubs, medical uniform scrubs.
Wow, that sounds like something different, you know. So, what made you decide to do that?
So, like I stated, I don't want to be repetitive, but because I was in the healthcare field and I loved it, I loved it. It was something I really was passionate about. But sometimes things come to an end, and you kind of, you know, have to, you know, revamp yourself, I would say.
Right.
And I still wanted to stay in the medical field, so I figured, and I kind of thought long and hard, why not uniform scrubs? Because this is a recession-proof business. Like, we'll always need nurses, we'll always need doctors, we'll always need therapists, and all those people wear medical uniforms. So I figured, why not go this route and see, and still be in the medical field, and just take this route and see where I can go with it.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? Obviously, this is a calling that you have, you know, as far as, you know, working with the healthcare, you know, industry. But something that I didn't ask you, which I'm sure that anyone is watching, they would definitely want to know that salary. What would you say about, I guess, the starting salary range, or just how it kind of goes at the if someone's coming in at the entry level? I know you have moved up and moved on, you know,
Mhm.
but what would you say about the salary?
Well, that will vary person to person, honestly, because some people may have more experience than others. That's the one question I got all the time from people that was wanting to, you know, get hired doing healthcare or home health aid. and I couldn't really give them a direct answer because it all depended on their experience, all depended on their qualifications and how many years they have previously been in the medical field and things like that.
Okay, so again, a lot of it is experience. I can also imagine that some of it would also have to do with where they're working also.
Right. And
You know.
sometimes even sometimes they would even ask me, and I have to be careful with even answering that, because someone might have a relative that want to get hired as well. And then they say, well, I wasn't, hired with that salary, and that next person was hired with a different salary. So that's why it varies from person to person, and depending on their background and, their resume and things like that.
Yeah, I think also, I think I've seen some of the different salaries, posted online also.
Mm-hmm.
So like when they talk about, salary, I think that there's certain things that you can Google. And when you Google it, I think sometimes they'll talk about also what state you live in.
Yes, you're right. Absolutely.
As far as, what the salary is like, and that, that range.
You're absolutely correct. So some places are very competitive. So you're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing, I have to say, I feel like you've been a little modest about the fact that you are now doing the scrub, because from what I understand, and I'm not going to say a little birdie told me, but I heard that you are actually your own business owner as far as with scrubs. I mean, is that so?
Yes, I am my own business owner. And I will be officially launching my website next week. So
congratulations.
Yes.
So
thank you.
Congratulations. So
Thank you.
Is that information you want to share now, or if somebody is a caregiver and they just want to look the part, if you will, as far as like the scrubs, is there a way that they could get in contact with you?
Yes, my direct line. They can get in contact with me by my direct line or my email.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, again, I just want to say thank you for this conversation, because again, there's so many people that need support out here. And then there's so many people who are looking at how to become a professional caregiver.
Absolutely.
So the information that you shared today is just really wonderful. And again, I just want to say thank you for taking this time. And we are now
Thank you.
going to.
What you're doing is great.